Welcome back to Board Now, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast hosted by me, the final girl, and you guys. Today, ladies and germs, we are talking about an episode that the fandom literally despises. Like, they put this episode down so much. They talk about it, how it's misogynistic, it's dated, how they feel like it's unfunny. Like, I have literally seen people decimate and destroy this episode. But for me, I do not hate the puppet show by any means. It's not my favorite, but I definitely don't hate it. It holds a special place in my heart. I think it's charming. I think it's actually really funny. And while I don't think it's necessarily an important one to the Buffy lore, you can for sure skip it on your rewatches. I rarely do. And to me, if you skip it, you miss the best part. It gives us one of Buffy's most iconic looks, her leopard dress and leather jacket, which I feel like in recent times, a lot of fans have been calling back to that as one of her iconic looks. Like, we know that her most iconic look is from the Graduation Day episodes where she's in the red pants and the black shirt, or Prophecy Girl. But lately, fans have been really drawn to this. Specifically, I feel like the next generation of Buffy fans on social media, they're copying this look a lot. And it comes from this episode. And if you guys are following my TikTok and watch my social media content, then you would know that my little co-host Tiffany auditioned for the role of Sid. Apparently, according to her, you're gonna have to ask her. But she said Sid the dummy got the part instead. And listen, she thinks I don't know that she's awake. She thinks I don't know that my doll is blinking at you guys or occasionally taking over my TikToks and talking to you guys. I'm just letting her think that I don't know. I don't know why she would think it would scare me. I'm a huge horror fan. I think if anything, it proves that I can relate to Morgan in this episode. So let's dive right in and jump into the episode. I'm excited to break it down with you guys.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
Buffy and the Scoobies get roped into Sunnydale High's talent show, which is already a nightmare even before the demon starts harvesting organs. The prime suspect, a snarky ventriloquist dummy who's revealed to be a demon hunter trapped in the hunk of wood. Now it's up to Buffy and Sid to stop the demon before it's too late and the curtain is called. Right away, we're thrown into the auditions of Sunnydale High, and I love that Giles is the one who's roped into running this. But I need to know, and I'm going to have to ask Charisma this, but I need to know, like, if she can really sing. Like, I don't know if this is her putting on an act. I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's emphasizing it a little bit because Cordelia is supposed to be a bad singer. That's the funny joke here. But another Charisma Carpenter is living in New York. Something I've always wanted to ask her is if she would ever do like Broadway. Watching this episode, I don't think Cordelia is going to be singing For Good from Wicked anytime soon. Although if Buffy was in 2025 and Cordelia was in high school, I'm sure she would be singing For Good or Girl in the Bubble. You guys, I'm obsessed with Wicked. Have you guys seen the Wicked Part 1 and Part 2 yet? I can't wait to like own Part 2 on physical media and then watch them all as one movie. But back to the Buffy episode. One of the things I've really been loving this first season is the juxtaposition that each director places Buffy, Willow, and Xander around Giles. Usually it's in the library the way that they're framed, but here in this scene, they're framed beautifully in the auditorium. As someone in film, it's just something I appreciate and how they fill the space. As Buffy and the gang are bagging on Giles, we are introduced to our brand new principal. Snyder swoops in and he forces them to join the talent show. And as much as we're all like grumble against Snyder, because like we hate Snyder, we love to hate Snyder. He's such a good character. And it's so funny because like Snyder is such a fucking prick as a character, but Armin is like the exact opposite. He's so sweet. We've been having conversations with him about him appearing in our Buffy documentary, and he told one of our producers that like, I'll talk, but I don't really remember anything that happened at the time. But he loves the fans and loves the fandom so much. That's why he goes to like the conventions and stuff. We're introduced to Morgan and his dummy Sid, and his ventriloquist act is a little too good. We're starting to kind of see the misogynistic side of Sid come out, and it's a side that like me and many fans just don't like.
How about you and I do a little rehearsing on our own, honey?
Hey.
You know what they say. Once you go wood, nothing's as good.
Okay, Morgan, we get the joke. Horny dummy, ha ha. It's very funny, but you might want to consider getting some new shtick. Unless you want your prop ending up as a Duraflame log.
Then we get our first victim, Emily, and her heart's removed. And while the gang is investigating it, the series does what it does so well. I love that Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, takes on these serious moments, but then gives you like a little wiggle room to breathe. It's not super heavy because they throw a lot of the comedy in there. Like Buffy thinks it's all demony and like nobody's listening to her. And Giles is kind of thinking maybe it's human. And then Willow chimes in saying that it could be anybody. And it's so fucking hilarious. Every time she says her line, I crack up laughing.
It could be anyone. It could be me. It's not, though.
Like Allison Hannigan, particularly in this first season, is so funny. And I find myself laughing so much in this episode, and I really don't understand how the fandom can say that this isn't a comical one. So Buffy and the Scoobies decide that they're going to investigate, and they're going to ask all the talent show participants questions. Eventually, all roads lead back to Morgan. And when Buffy questions him, Sid appears to kind of be his mouthpiece a little bit.
Morgan, are you okay?
Look, sweetheart, he answered your question. Now leave him alone.
Okay, Morgan, how about talking to me yourself now?
He said all he's gonna say.
It's okay, Sid. We're done.
And it feels off for Buffy, and for us, the fans, we're recognizing that maybe Sid is otherworldly. I have a question for the Scoobies. Do you think that Snyder was told before he came to Sunnydale High about Buffy? Not that she's the Slayer, because we know that's a surprise to him when he finds out, but maybe more like the mayor and stuff when they installed him, because we know the mayor installed him because he talks about it. He talks about it throughout the couple of seasons that he's in. That, like, he hopes the mayor thinks he's doing a good job. But, like, do you think the mayor maybe said, you need to watch out for this troublemaker? She's making trouble for us and trouble around town. And so they, like, pointed it out to him to put pressure on her. Because, like, why the fuck does he immediately lock in on her? Like, I could understand if Buffy was constantly getting in trouble or if she was constantly coming to the office. But even at this school, she's not. With Bob Flutie, she wasn't. Maybe, like, in the first episode or the second episode, you know, when she was just trying to learn the rules from him. But think about it. Is he really deep diving into all of the students' records to see who are the troublemakers? How many people go to Sunnydale High? But for me, this was so relatable with Snyder just like zeroing in and picking on Buffy, because to me, this happened to me in school. And it was happening while I was watching Buffy live. I've talked about it on the podcast before. I was severely bullied, but not just by the students, by like the teachers, the principals, all the adults that were at my school. Like literally when I was asking my mom the other day before filming this, I was like, Mom, I am trying to remember some of the stories from the principal, the things that she did to me. Can you tell me what was going on? And she's like, I don't remember which one is the principal, which one was your art teacher, which one was your choir teacher, which one was your English teacher. And I just was kind of like, what the fuck was wrong with all of these adults? And she's like, I don't know. And so seeing Snyder just pick on Buffy really hit home for me at that time. And I always say this, I love that Buffy stuck up and defended herself, and Buffy never she backed down a little bit, but Buffy never really fully backed down. She always stood her ground. And to me, that showed me that it was okay to do the same. And also, I don't get why people think Joyce is a bad mom. I'm really tired of hearing this take in the fandom. It almost feels like people are watching the series for the first time without any nuance. They're watching it with 2025 eyes. They're not seeing the full picture of things, and nobody's really giving Joyce grace, and it's kind of pissing me off. Like, leave Joyce alone. I love this little moment with her and Buffy where she's like checking in on her and making sure that she's okay, and she notices that Buffy's not okay. She recognizes that something's not right and something is going on, and she doesn't push. She knows that like she's gonna show herself to Buffy and essentially say, if you need anything, I'm here, but she's not gonna push and prod. She's a teenager. She's growing into a woman. She's kind of letting her figure it out. And she's probably thinking, I opened the door and now if she needs to, she'll come to me, which she does in the next scene. Because we get that jump scare with Sid, and it still even freaks me out to this day where he's like looking in the window at her when the light goes off. But then when he's like running around her room and he scares her and she like screams and jumps up from the bed and Joyce comes running in to like make sure she's okay, it shows that Buffy still needs her mom. And what I love about it is that like it also shows that Buffy is still very much a young girl. Like, sure, Sure, she's the Slayer. Sure, she goes up against monsters that are worse than this and the evils that she fights at night and things that normal people would be scared of. But here, she's just a frightened young girl who wants her mom. And it really just shows how young she is. Buffy then goes to school the next day and she expresses what happens to Willow, Xander, and Giles. And of course, they don't believe her. If anything, Xander kind of mocks her. But what I love is that Buffy goes to bat for herself, essentially saying, like, I'm the Slayer. Like, take me for what I am. I'm not some girl saying that there's a cat in my bed and I'm scared. Like, I'm telling you what happened. Believe me. Giles then is doing his research and he uncovers that there is this demon and that his purpose is to steal hearts and brains every 7 years to keep his body whole, that he also disguises himself as human. And so this convinces the gang that it must be Morgan. Xander kidnaps Sid the dummy and he starts mocking Buffy, and it's so frustrating. It's like incredibly irritating because he is sitting there belittling her, mocking her, and making fun of her. But I love when she's proven right. Buffy sadly finds Morgan, and unfortunately, the demon has gotten his brain, and that's where her and Sid meet. And as it turns out, they're actually on the same side, and it's so funny.
You win. Now you can take your heart and your brain and move on.
I'm sure they would have made great trophies for your case.
That would have been justice.
Yeah, except for one thing. You lost, and now you'll never be human.
Yeah, well, neither will you.
What?
This is what I do. I hunt demons. Yeah, you wouldn't know it to look at me. Let's just say there was me, there was a really mean demon, there was a curse, and the next thing I know, I'm not me anymore. I'm sitting on some guy's knee with his hand up my shirt.
At the talent show, Buffy and Sid bond while they're hunting for the demon. And this is where the episode feels really dated. Sid is an old man trapped into a doll, and while he may look childish because he's a doll, he's still very much an old man. And he is making very perverted sex jokes to a 16-year-old girl. And sure, it's a character on TV, but it's adult grown men who are writing this. That's the ick part. That's the part that we talk about in the fandom when we're analyzing our favorite series in these episodes, right? It's not so much that we're bashing the episode or we're bashing the characters or why does Xander have to be this way or, why is Willow do that or why is Buffy this way? It's not any of that. We understand that. We understand that they're characters on TV. But when you break it down and you look at it and you look at this episode and you look at really what the conversation is between Sid the dummy and Buffy herself, and they're sitting there, he tells her in the 30s that he knew a Slayer and they got it on and they did all that stuff. So another 16-year-old girl? And it just makes you think, like, what the fuck was going through the writer's head at the time? It's just gross. And I understand it was 1997, technically 96 when this was written in film, but it doesn't make it right. And so when you know better, you do better, which is why I am so happy that the revival series is being helmed by Sarah, by Chloe Zhao, and by a pretty predominantly female team. It gets revealed that the demon rejected Morgan's brain, and Willow hacks into the school's system and the school's nurse system, and she reveals that Morgan had brain cancer, so the brain became useless to the demon. And so now it clicks to them that the demon might need a new brain, and all eyes are on Willow when they really should be on Giles. But lucky for him, Buffy and the Scoobies realize it in time, and of course she swoops in and saves the day as always. And this time it truly is a team effort, and I love that they're all kind of doing it together. Willow and Xander are rescuing Giles, Buffy and Sid are fighting the demon, and in the end, Sid stabs the demon and it releases him from his wooden curse. And as we are feeling the sadness of Sid leaving and the music going and Buffy realizing things, the curtain opens and it gives us a hilarious moment as the talent show starts. But my favorite thing about this entire episode is when the original one aired on TV, in the credits, you saw Buffy, Xander, and Willow's performance. And for years after that, when it ran in syndication or it ran on reruns, they never showed it because it was like a time thing, because the initial run is the first time you ever get the most amount of time, because that's what the AdSense is, right? So like when you're selling ads for TV and film, the initial run for that episode gets the most because it's like, oh, we know that that's where the most people are going to see it. It's on premiere night. People want to watch it, so they pay the most money for it. So when it's in syndication, you have to have a little bit more commercials. So you kind of nip and tuck and cut certain things. And so a lot of times the credits are what kind of get taken over, right? So it's like you'll see them like flash real quick and then it goes into the next show. So with this, for a really long time, you never saw it until the like DVDs came out. When the DVDs came out, then they like had all of this on there. But I love that on streaming, they still show it. I was laughing so hard at their rendition. It's honestly like the best part of the entire episode.
O ruler of my country, Oedipus, you see our company around the altar, and I, the priest of Zeus.
Ha ha. They prophesied that I should kill my father, but he is dead and hidden deep in the soil. But surely I must fear my mother's bed.
Oh, Oedipus, Oedipus, unhappy Oedipus, that is all I can call you and all that I ever shall call you.
Darkness and horror of darkness, unfolding, restless, visitant, sped by an ill wind in haste. Madness and stabbing pain and memory of ill deeds I have done.
Where does this one stand for you guys and your ranking? Like I said earlier, I know so many fans hate this one. It's not my favorite by any means. It's definitely low on my list. I often reference it as like one of the forgettable episodes, but I do think it holds a certain place of charm. And no matter what I'm doing on my rewatches, this is one I rarely skip, even if it's just playing in the background. Next week, I'm joined by Raya Nerds Out, and we are talking all about the episode Nightmares. I am so excited to have a conversation with her. She is new on TikTok and she has been sharing her opinions, and I'm obsessed with them, and she's so knowledgeable and she has been a lifelong fan, just like all of us. She's also committed to appearing in the Buffy doc, and if you guys have seen our announcement trailer, she's in there. I can't wait to deep dive that episode with her and you guys, and for you to hear her opinions and her takes. And she even points out some things to me that like I had no clue about. So make sure you're subscribed everywhere you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify, Apple. The videos are on YouTube. Clips are always shared on my TikTok. And thank you guys so much for tuning in this week and every week. Make sure that you're liking, make sure you're commenting, because that really helps the Ghoul out. Share it with all your Buffy loving friends. And until next week, this is Bored Now, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast.